Hey, race fans, welcome in. We got a surprise broadcast for you here. Apex this GT3 Sundays. This week it's at Daytona. See our drivers on track now, heading around, putting in some hot laps, trying to put in the best qualifying time that they can here before this 45-minute race gets underway. So we'll just take a quick look at the details for this one before we get into qualifying and see how our drivers are stacking up out there. So as I mentioned, we're at Daytona Motor Speedway, home of the Rolex 24, which will be coming up shortly next week on iRacing, a special event for the GT3, LMP2, and GTP machinery. Many drivers will be putting in 24 hours of laps around Daytona, hoping to gain that top spot on the podium. I believe there's a number of drivers from this league who are forming teams to participate that too as well. But before we get to that, we're here at week number 4 of the Apex. I believe this is season 23? Don't quote me on that. I believe it's 23. I'll have to do a little bit of fact checking, but we're at Daytona. The 26-degree air temps. We're at 11 meters above sea level, so we are basically at sea level. There's going to be no real hampering of high altitude here, taking away any horsepower from the machinery. So drivers putting in lap times. Let's take a quick look and see how that's shaping out so far. Currently got Jeremy Littleton up top of the standings with a 144.46, just a couple hundredths ahead of Jason Kinger in second place. And then Chad Sosnowski just 1/10 back as well in third. So real tight gap at the top of the standings here for this one. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out as this one goes on. Again, most of our drivers have been putting in a lot of laps this week in preparation for next week's Rolex Daytona 24. So most of the drivers should have a relative understanding of the track and what it's going to take to get around here tonight. So be interesting to see who's put in the most time, who can benefit from that the most. So we ride on board here with Mark Sherman, currently in 26th spot with a 151.4. Mark will be trying to move his way up the standings, but it looks like he's not going to have enough time to put another lap in, as we're down to about 15 seconds to go in qualifying. So our drivers, if you're unfamiliar, have 10 minutes of time to put in 4 laps if they can get there, but I don't think they can actually get the 4 laps in plus their out lap here tonight. So 3 laps is probably what the max that they'll do. Qualifying wrapping up there as we see the timer has ticked over. We'll just let the timing system reset, and then we'll have a look at the qualifying standings to see where everybody played out here. There we go. We see Jeremy Littleton's going to hold on to top spot. He's going to take P1. Jason Kinger will start to his outside in P2. Chad Sosnowski and Brian Zinn are going to make up the second row, followed by Daniel McElvey and Mark Miller in row 3. In 7th spot, we've got Wesley Bryce. He'll have Brian Lemke to his outside to make up row 4. And rounding out the top 10, we got Roman Bykov and Josh Sheps. P11 is going to see Kelly Greenhoe and Ty Johnson. 13th place goes to Corey Mitchell. We'll see if it's lucky 13 or unlucky 13 for Corey, but he'll have Russell Elizondo to his outside, followed by John Cooper and Craig Brockway behind them. Chris Gargano and Tyler Nevins are going to make up 17th and 18th place. Derek Tyndall and Mark Bray will occupy 19th and 20th. Then we have John Casey in 21st, Michael Bond in 22nd, Arthur Aremias in 23rd, Oz Exilu in 24th. That's a new name to the league, I believe. Welcome in, Oz. Spencer Baudouin in 25th, Mark Sherman in 26th, Brian Kinger in 27th, Federico Del Toro in 28th, Kent Kruger in 29th, and I believe we're going to have Thomas Wright and Donald Mensing rounding out the field. So if everybody grids up, that's 31 cars tonight. It'll be a nice showing. Hopefully everybody makes it to the grid. We see all our drivers are gridding up here. We've got the couple stragglers. We're looking for Federico Del Toro and Donald Mensing. Doesn't look like they're going to hit the grid, so we will start to pull away. It looks like we're racing at sunset here. And the sun's starting to go down. A little bit of amber haze on the cars. We'll see if the race finishes up under the lights, but as it stands right now, we are ready to go with some light out there. Still shining down on the track. Nice mixture of cars here this evening as well. We've got an Acura, McLaren, and Porsche making up the top 3. Then we get a smattering of Porsches and Acuras rounding out the top 10. Then we have some Corvettes, Ford, Mustangs, Ferraris further back in the field. So a little bit of everything here. We'll see who has the better legs as the race goes on. So Ace car about to duck off into the pits, and we'll be getting underway here for Apex's week 4 at Daytona. There we go, pace cars peeling off. We see the field heading around to take the green flag here. We're waiting for the green lights. There it is. Race is underway. Jeremy Littleton trying to hold on to his P1 position into turn 1. Jason Kinger trying hard to make a move around the outside. Littleton's going to hold on to it for now. Sosnowski tucks it into third. Top 3 hold their positions. Take a look a little farther back in the field. Mark Miller in the white and blue Acura here, currently in 6th spot. Trying to hold off Wesley Bryce in that orange and blue Porsche behind him. Wesley trying to find a way around Mark early on. Mark able to hold him off as it stands right now. Oh no, our leader, Jeremy Littleton, falling down the field. Something's happened to Jeremy Littleton. Oh no, that's not the way he wanted to start. That's going to promote Jason Kinger up into 2nd place. Probably not the way Jason wanted to take it, but he will gladly pick up that position. We'll have a look at what happened to Jeremy Littleton here very shortly. It's unfortunate for Jeremy, not the way you want to hold on to your pole position, but those things happen. Let's take a look here and see what happened to Jeremy. Oh, a little rubbing between he and Jason Kinger through there. Littleton tries to rub back and unfortunately just goes off in the grass, and away he goes. We'll have to take a look and see how the stewards rule that one on later this week. Not sure if they'll look so kindly on it there. A little bit of aggression between both drivers, but either way, that promotes Kinger up into 1st, Sosnowski into 2nd. Zinn will take the final spot on the podium now. We got a pair of Porsches trying to chase down the McLaren of Kinger up ahead. Go a little further back in the field here. We've got Ty Johnson and Corey Mitchell battling it out. Ty in the black and orange Micro Center branded Porsche with the the nice raptor teeth on the front, currently trying to take a bite out of the back end of Corey Mitchell in the what's Corey driving? The Corvette. Corey back in his fur Corvette for this race here tonight, trying to stretch out the legs of that Corvette. I believe the Corvette is one of the better cars this week from what I've seen in the top split official racing, so it's interesting to see if Corey's able to harness that power here tonight. So we still got a long way to go in this one. As I mentioned, 45 minutes. We're only 3 minutes into it. Plenty of time for our drivers to make a move. Here is our pole sitter, Jeremy Littleton, back in 21st place now. He's got Brian Kinger. I'm not sure if there's a relation there between Brian and Jason, but he's got Brian Kinger ahead of him, Thomas right behind him. We'll see if Jeremy's able to utilize the draft off Brian to close that gap and start making his way back through the field. We're on board here with Wesley Bryce as he's got Roman Bykoff trying to make a move on him. Roman in that Lucky Strike themed Acura trying to make a move around the outside, not going to have enough horsepower to do it. Wesley's going to hold him off for now, but Roman's still trying to pressure around the outside. Bryce is going to have the shorter path. He's going to hold on to that position. Brian Lemke just behind them had to give a little tap of the brake as he had to check up. Caught up to that battle a little quicker than expected, with Lemke in the all black and a carbon fiber themed Acura here, chomping at the bit, trying to get around those two cars ahead. Meanwhile, Kelly Greenhoe, nice to see Kelly up in the top 10 here. Kelly driving the Acura tonight. He's keeping an eye on what's going ahead between Lemke, Bykov, and Bryce. And the final car in this pack here, Josh Sheps in the Turbo Snail Porsche car. Always love seeing a car drive fast with a snail logo on the side. So our drivers will need to make a pit stop at some point in time tonight. They are limited in fuel. I believe about 45% of what the tank holds. So at some point in time, they will have to come in to make a pit stop. We'll see if there's any strategy that plays out here. Some guys try to undercut, come in a little early to get some open track space, or if they try and push it as far as they can on their fuel load, maximize the amount of laps they get in. So we got a little battle here for 26th spot. Chris Gargano trying to chase down Greg Brockway just ahead. Greg currently holding down 25th place in that purple Corvette. He's got the, is that a Top Gear Grand Tour theme paint job on Chris Gargano? It looks like it. You love to see it. I'm still sad that that show is done. Grand Tour was one of my favorite shows, and Top Gear before. You hate to see your idols get older, but that's what happens. Check back in up at the front. Looks like our top three getting a little closer together. Daniel McElvey just out of this pack too as well, trying to make it a 4-car pack for the lead in this one. Well, Daniel currently 7/10 back of Brian Zinn. Brian Zinn holding on to the tail bumper of Chad Sosnowski. We got 3 Porsches trying to chase down the McLaren of Jason Kinger. Again, we might see a little bit of penalties possibly doled out between Kinger and Littleton. We'll have to see how the stewards judge that one. I know there's new stewardship rules this season. They're only allowed to protest so many times in a season. So we'll see if either driver wants to use one of their protests or just call it a racing incident and move on. On board here now with Mark Brace. He's trying to chase down Derek Tyndall in one of our few Mustangs here this evening. See Derek in that pink and white Mustang trying to hold off the Porsche of Mark Bray in behind. That's a battle for 15th place right now. They've got a bit of a gap ahead of them. Arthur Remus up in 14th, 4.2 seconds ahead, and then John Cooper another 1.4 seconds back. We see Coop in a Acura this season. He's moving on from his predominantly driving the Ferrari for the last 50 million seasons. So it's nice to see Coop in a different car out here tonight. We'll see how it fares for him this season. Big Dog, the head chief admin, Kent Kruger, currently trying to chase down Thomas Wright. That's a battle for 20th spot overall. Kent looking racier tonight. It might be a little bit of damage on the front of Kent's car. We'll have to see if we can find a little better look at that one or not, but I think Kent might have had a little bit of a kerfuffle early on. Oh yeah, there we go. It looks like the front end of Kent's car is a little banged up. That's going to cost him a little bit of top end speed out there. We'll see how Kent is able to cope with that. We got Matt Atkins in chat. Welcome in, Matt. Yeah, surprise broadcast trying to do check some settings and things out, and I figure what better way to do it than throw up a broadcast at Apex this, right? These guys don't even know that it's happening, so they'll have a little surprise when they're all done, as long as everything goes copacetic here. We'll head back up to this battle for 5th place, being led around by Mark Miller. He's got Wesley Bryce, Roman Bykov, Brian Lemke, Kelly Greenhoe, and Josh Sheps all nose to tail on this one. So that's battle from 5th all the way back to 10th. So far, Mark Miller able to hold them off, but Wesley Bryce in that Porsche trying to find a way around. Oh, my apologies there. I had to sneeze, so we're back at it. So, looks like Bryce was looking left and right through turn 1 and 2. Miller was able to hold him off, but Lemke's still trying to find a way around Bykov just in behind them. Real tight battle all throughout for these drivers. Everybody trying to find a little spot to make a move. So far, nobody able to do it. We pick up Roman Bykov in the middle of this pack. He's driving the Lucky Strike Acura. Lemke looking right, looking left, trying to fill Bykov's mirrors with as much of that Acura as he can, trying to get Bykov off his game. At one point in time, seasons ago, I'd say that would probably work, but Roman has stepped up his racecraft in the last few seasons. He's managed to have a better idea when to make a move, when to not make a move, and it's worked out well for him. So it looks like Lemke might get a run around the outside here. Looks like Bykov's going to let him go. That's going to promote Lemke up into P7. See if the two of them can work together to chase down Bryce and Miller up ahead. Looks like Lemke gets a better run through the bus stop than Wesley Bryce up ahead. He's going to close that gap on the back bumper of Wesley Bryce. Take a look here. Looks like Spencer Baudouin had a bit of an issue earlier on. Let's see what happened to Spencer here. He's heading through the kink. Oh, gets a little squirrely. Loses the back end into the wall. Looks like we saw a car off into the infield there. I'm not sure if that scared him that it was going to come back on track, but unfortunate for Spencer, he's going to use the tow feature to head back to the pits on that one. Lemke now gets around Miller and moves himself up into 5th. Around Miller and Bryce all the time. Lemke is on the move. He's found some pace. Let's see if these guys can latch onto the back bumper here. They've got 6 seconds up to our top pack. I don't think they'll be able to close down that unless something happens amongst that top 4. But Lemke showing some fast pace here now. The last couple laps, he's already opened up half a second over he and Mark Miller. Let's check back in on our leaders. Jason Kinger still leading the way around. Chad Sosnowski in 2nd. Brian Zinn in 3rd. And Daniel McElvey in 4th. Pretty standard quo for these 4 drivers the last few laps. They've still got plenty of time to go, just at the 12-minute mark here of this one. So still plenty of time to go to make some moves, but Zinn we see tucking right up on the back of Sosnowski's bumper. We'll see if he opts for the bump draft here to try and close down the gap between them and Kinger, as Kinger's opened up about half a second over Sosnowski in 2nd place now. The McLaren seems to have a little bit more legs on the straight than the Porsches do. Zinn doing everything he can to try and keep Sosnowski in the draft of Kinger up ahead. I think they were able to do it into turn 1. They've closed that gap down to about 3/10 now. Top on board with Daniel McElvey. See what he's got. Looking out his front windshield is the top 3 just ahead. Daniel would like to snatch that final spot on the podium or more if possible. See 3 different lines from our top 3 through that section. Jason Kinger in the McLaren opting to go as wide as he possibly could, maximize the amount of speed through the corner. The Porsches look like they were able to take a little bit of a sharper line through there. We'll check back in on them in a little bit. Let's go back to our battle here for 5th. Lemke's still holding on to 5th spot. He's now opened up 8/10 over Mark Miller. I'm surprised the 4 cars behind haven't been able to tag up here and chase down Lemke. Generally, you have a hard time breaking draft at Daytona if there's a pack behind you, but they might want to think about cycling one of the other Acuras out front. Maybe Mark Miller is running a little more of a high downforce setup and not able to utilize the top speed of that Acura as the similar Acura of Lemke's pulling away. Check back into this battle we saw earlier. Ty Johnson trying to chase down Corey Mitchell. Corey still holding on to final spot in the top 10. He's got 4/10 over Ty Johnson in 11th spot. Ty would like to get himself up into the top 10, but Corey in that Corvette holding on to that spot now. See Kent Kruger making a move around Thomas Wright. Kent in that aero damaged car still able to maximize the draft, make the move around Thomas Wright. Looks like John Casey trying to make that move too as well. See if John's able to complete it.